Hey, this is Marcus at marcusblankenship.com. Uh, this is Marcus at marcusblankenship.com. As much as I look like some hillbilly redneck, I want to talk to you about technical leadership. And in fact, if you've been on this channel a while or you're on my list, which you can join for free at marcusblankenship.com to get regular emails with insightful thoughts about technical leadership and management, becoming a team lead, a tech lead, a CTO, a director, whatever it is. Okay, here's the thing. I have this on my mind today and I can't quite figure it out. So I wanted to talk it out with you. I'm thinking about theories. All of us create theories all day long. We always have since you were a little kid. You came into this world, the world doesn't make any sense, and so you immediately begin to start creating theories. This is facts. Well, at least in terms of human growth and development, child psychology, this is exactly how children learn. Is they put together theories and then they test the world against those theories, and the world gives them feedback. Now, why do you care about this as a technical leader? It is a kind of fun sport to talk about leadership theories and styles. And I think they're actually the same thing because a leadership style like servant leadership, great man leadership, leader-member exchange theory, transactional leadership, these styles are essentially identified by psychologists and sociologists who go out and study how people act and then create a theory based on surveys, gathering input, talking to people. They try and create a correlation, not a causation, but a correlation between kind of what is this nebulous thing called leadership and these actions that people take. Now, I'll admit, I get a little wrapped up in leadership theories. I have a favorite. You might even have a favorite too. But here's the reality. There's only one leadership theory that matters. Okay, there's just one. That is the leadership theory that your team has about you. That is the theory that your team members each individually hold, because they don't talk about it typically. They each individually hold a theory about you, your motivation, your intention, your thought process, your approach, your perspective, your priorities. They each hold a theory. And how do I know this? Well, doggone it, it doesn't take a genius to realize that when I was a young whippersnapper or even an old whippersnapper, I constantly build theories around about the people around me. Some of them, like my wife, very close to almost 29 years of marriage, I still develop working theories about how she thinks and prioritizes and approaches things. And you know why I say a theory rather than a fact? Because I can't see what's going on inside her head. I can only see the outcome of what's going on inside her head. And it is easy for me, and as a younger married man, I used to do this where I would say, "You're thinking like this." And she would oftentimes correct me. "No, I'm thinking like this. This is what explains my behavior." So here's my point, is we can never know what's going on with somebody else unless we ask, and even then they may or may not be able to tell us. So we all create theories about why people do things and what's important to them. And your team absolutely has created theories about you, guaranteed. Now, the real question is how can you find out what those theories are? And how can you start to be more transparent rather than opaque about why you're doing things? If we start with the idea that your team sees you behaving in ways that they don't always understand, then some why would really go a long way. Simon Sinek's Start With Why, I think, is a great resource. At least it's a good book title. I think I haven't read it for a long time. But it's the idea, of course, that your intention as a leader is really important to those who follow you. And if you don't tell them, they'll guess. They'll create a theory about it. They will create a working theory that reflects what they see. At some point, that theory, because it's imperfect, will come up against a reality of a situation, and this is how theories get amended, the theory gets slightly revised. I think it's so important that you understand this, because all of that stuff about, academic management and leadership study can fly right out the window. The theory that you need to understand is the theory your people have about you. asking them, not only telling them your why more regularly, setting context, helping them understand, but telling them your principles, the principles you reason from, telling them your values, and then frankly, just ask them, what theory do you have about me? Why do you think I'm doing this? And it's very important here. Don't do it in such a way where you're defensive. Why do you think I'm doing this? Right? That it's all about the emphasis. That is not going to get anybody to talk. But instead, if you can talk about your own work and say, what do you perceive to be behind my intentions here? Not because I want to blame you if you're wrong, because you can't see inside my head. And sometimes I can't see the message I'm projecting out to my team. So if all you have is my comments in a pull request, then you have to guess at my intentions. And instead, then that's an opportunity for you to make your intentions clearer. Want to play with this a little bit more? Do this. Think about, why does your boss do what he does? What is your working theory about them? It could be a she, whatever. We're not going to be gender specific here. Your boss acts in certain ways. You don't always understand all those ways. What is your working theory about your boss? Take time, examine yourself, sit down and write out what theory you have about your boss, about their motivation, their priorities, their values, their principles. What do they care about? What's their background? What led them to do the things that you're seeing? Because it doesn't all have to make sense, but if you don't recognize that you're working under a theory which is naturally flawed, and which can and should be revised over time, then you start to imagine that you know the facts. And I think if you imagine you know the facts about what's going on in someone else's brain, I think you're in dangerous territory. So I'm just going to encourage you not to do that. Instead, develop working theories, talk about those working theories, get it out in the open, and start to just recognize this cool idea that our brains as human beings are all theory-building brains. We're little scientists, and I want you to just go away with that idea. If there's a child in your life, I want you to look at them even more as a little scientist, just trying to make sense of the whole world. All right, talk to your team. We'll see you next time. Bye.